Welcome to I don't know what I'm calling this podcast, where Ted and I are going to drink beer and discuss really, really dumb solutions to really, really smart problems, or discuss really, really smart solutions to problems no one has. Or discuss other things, engineering, quantum mechanics, carrier pigeon, and or other related. Also, disclaimer, anything we say here, we don't ever act like we know what we're talking about. We don't know what we're talking about most of the time, and our opinions are not facts. With that being said, Ted!
What's up, bud? How are you? How you doing, man?
Oh, we're getting there, I suppose.
What you drinking, homie? What you drinking?
Just a little bit blue from the fridge. It's nothing amazing.
It's better than no beer, right?
Your first favorite beer is free. Your next favorite's cold.
Third favorite's open.
Yeah. I don't know about that, man. If someone hands me an open beer at a bar, I'm gonna be pretty hesitant about that one.
I don't know. Bartenders have handed me a lot of open beers, but you know.
Nice.
Not dead yet. Not dead yet.
I guess if they open them in front of you, I suppose that's all right.
Yeah. Well, on draft, the top of the glass is.
Oh, I mean,
open.
all right, yeah. You don't.
I would. That's how I was thinking. Was the glass is open, but yeah.
Could you imagine? Actually, what if you were to build a bar around and kind of in the theme of the pandemic, you're delivering stuff, right? Like if you could make a bar that would seal and carbonize mugs, big glass mugs, right, and ship them to your door, so it's as close as you can get to an in-bar experience. It's straight from the tap, it's in a giant glass mug, but you seal it and words, carbon something, make it fizzy, and then send it to doors.
That
honestly, carbonize is not the word I want, but it's the word I'm going with.
We'll blame beer. Early start for that, but I think that'd be a neat idea, to be able to wrap an actual draft in a glass. But I feel at that point, by the time it ships to you, if temperature changes or carbonation doesn't last forever, so I imagine at some point it would just be easier to can it or bottle it to get close to that experience.
No, yeah, I'm thinking like a pizza delivery boy. You order the beer, and 20 minutes later it shows up at your door in a mug. You shotgun it in front of this poor teenager who doesn't know what he's doing with his life, and then you hand him back an empty mug and say one more. And
does he have to do the whole round trip, or does he come prepped for me to be an alcoholic?
You know what? I feel like you could either tell them about that or they would just learn.
Yeah, enough trips, they'll figure it out. The first time he does one, the second time he's coming back with one, because nobody wants that to happen a third time. The third time he's coming back with a 6-pack. He's ready for me.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice.
Man,
you drinking anything?
I am. I have 120 minute. It's an IPA from Dogfish Head.
Oh man, you even drink out of fancy glasses.
All right, so I have this theory for how to drink out of glass. And
all right, let's hear it.
So if I just have any standard beer, I'm gonna drink it straight out of the can. I'm not wasting the glass. That's a waste of my time, waste of my effort, and the can's gonna be empty anyway. So it's 2 containers instead of just 1, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But some beers, especially ones that I've had before that I like a lot. 120 minute is it's got a special place in my heart. I love it. I adore this beer. Okay,
it's an IPA, I assume.
It is an IPA, but it's very malty. It doesn't taste like most other IPAs. Okay. But it's super alcoholic and it ages really well. So if you can leave it in a dark room, and in a temperature controlled dark room, you can sit on these beers for years. I actually just bought one from a guy. He was selling off his beer collection, and I bought it at face value, and it's already 9 years old. It's really good, right? It's going to taste way more alcoholic than the 18% it actually is, but it's I'm excited for it. So when it's a beer that I'm really excited for, either some special release or something I know I enjoy a lot, that's a special beer that deserves a glass.
All right, fair enough.
I won't if I just go and get a 6-pack of what the hell ever from the store, I'm not wasting a fucking glass on that. That's fucked. But if it's a brewery I don't get a lot, or if it's really highly rated, or it's a one-time release kind of thing, no, it's absolutely going in a glass. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned the temperature control. Can you not is there an ideal temperature to keep it at, or is it too cold? There is a too hot, I know that, but is there a too cold aside from frozen?
I've read that the best way to store the beer depends on the style of beer and the alcohol content of beer. So for this being an IPA, they recommend storing it like just below room temperature, but the dark is more important. And to be honest, I've aged a bunch of these for about a year. Like I've never aged anything longer than a year.
Yeah.
But they recommend it's just below room temperature. I haven't noticed any difference between like cellar temperature and the temperature of like a shelf in my bedroom kind of thing. But I know that when you do like stouts and darker beers, you're supposed to drink them a little bit warmer than most other beers. The flavor profile changes as it warms up. So those you want to keep just a little bit cooler, like between 50 and 60 degrees, because then the flavor of the
Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah. And then if you do that,
if it would be a 50 degrees Celsius.
You want to keep it a little colder. Let's make it 150 degrees Fahrenheit.
Hey man, I have been converting between the 4 major temperature units for a month straight, man. It matters, all right? It's like, is that 40 degrees Fahrenheit, Kelvin, Rankine, or Celsius? And you're just like, what?
Yeah, but Fahrenheit between 50 and 60 Fahrenheit, because apparently it keeps the profile better. I've never had a stout worth aging that I've had multiple bottles of it to be able to test them back and forth. I have one that I want to try it with this year. This brewery out of they used to be Chicago, and then Budweiser bought them out, but they're still doing like their independent brews. And actually, if you let me walk away for 25 seconds, I have a bottle that's actually aged. Un momento.
Alrighty then. In the meantime, I slammed my knee into my desk. That's what that noise was. That fucking hurt.
So, this is the Bourbon County Stout. The old brewery releases it every year on Black Friday. They used to be on a really limited run, so they used to be really hard to get your hands on.
So that's a stout?
It is a stout. It's a bourbon stout. Bud, I promise you, when I come up and visit, there's a bottle of this with your name on it. We're gonna split it because it'll put you on your face. It tastes like a glass of bourbon.
Hey, you know what? I'm okay with that.
It tastes like a glass of bourbon.
Like a proper So I actually, the very first stout I ever tried, I was 16
of age.
Yeah, no, definitely nah, dude. I think the first time I ever got blackout. No, I was 18. I was 18 because the reason I got it is I bought this kid cigarillos. And he grabbed the first thing he found from his father's liquor cabinet. I did not feel bad about this. I do not like this man that I am speaking of. and with every fiber of my being, I do not like him. I sold him a broken computer for $700.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I'm an asshole. Anyways, so it was an oatmeal stout that had been aged, and I cracked that bad boy open in first sip, and I spit it out and threw the bottle away. I hated beer after that day, and then Bradford actually was the first place that I was really exposed to a lot of alcohol, and now I failed out of there for a reason.
I understand. So I didn't drink most of my friends had drinks or partied or whatever through high school, and I wasn't that kid. A lot of me was terrified that I was going to get in trouble. My mom was going to disown me, kick me out of the house, or beat the living shit out of me if I ever did anything wrong ever. So I stayed out of trouble. But my 18th birthday, right after I graduated high school, before I went to college, and that was the first time I had tried alcohol. And at that point, I did not like beer. I needed it to taste good. It had to be fruity, girly drinks. It was I couldn't put it down if it tasted anything
like a wine cooler.
Even wine coolers that you could tell there was alcohol. It had to, Bud. It was so bad.
So you're talking if you made a screwdriver and you put half a shot in a gallon of orange juice, huh?
I will come back to this moment in time in a minute. Once I explain my alcohol thing.
Yep.
How I developed my taste for beer, but there's an actually really funny story about the first. So.
Oh boy.
Oh, it's so good. I told my mom that this story hammered, and I still think she looks at me differently for it. But so the way I got into like actually like drinking more than just socially, like actually enjoying something I drank. I went to a graduation party right before college started. Like they waited until early August to do their graduation party from high school. And the one of the guys that was there said that he loved drinking Jägermeister and Monster, and it made a really good tasting drink. And I mainlined mine. Like I think it replaced the blood in my arteries and veins. It was so terrible. I don't know that I had water.
That shit's
fucking
Monster. Nasty.
It's goddamn awful. But I drank a shitload of it. So I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna enjoy drinking, this is the place I'm gonna start. And that's where I found my love of Jägermeister. Jägermeister has a really like sweet underlying taste, but the overwhelming flavor is just dark and bitter and awful.
I mean, I like Jaeger.
I love Jaeger. Jaeger is my. You can.
I don't know if I love it, but I like
this
it.
side. I made a lamp out of a Jägermeister bottle.
I see that.
I made a lamp. I love Jägermeister. But there was a there was a period in my life where I was playing. As I was coming home for the summer, I was playing softball with ML Gordita and his dad, my dad, and a bunch of guys that Josh's dad went to church with. They were all into craft beer. Every time we had a practice, every time we had a game, every single conversation surrounded the craft beers that they had since the last time they saw each other.
Is this the friend group that you go and drink with, like when you head north?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
As a matter of fact.
All right.
So it's me and a bunch of like 50-year-old men. It's a little bit weird, but I get good beer out of it, so it's totally fine.
What do you care?
Yeah, good beer. I don't care. Whatever. But their main style was IPAs. So I had a really hard time getting into IPAs because like the hops and the bitterness, like it's definitely like abrasive to just jump into both feet. But I found one beer that I really liked. It was an IPA with a citrus flavor, actually from a brewery in Philadelphia. Not that I knew it at the time because I didn't give a shit. I just wanted to find a beer that I could like. But I loved that beer. And then I started being more adventurous. Like, okay, this uses this type of hops, so let's find another beer that uses similar hops and find more IPAs. And now I love IPAs. But even at that point, I couldn't drink stouts because they were too dark, too bitter. Couldn't do it.
Nah, man, dude, stouts are good.
Until I found my love child. And I found out that stouts don't have to taste like stouts. They can taste like bourbon instead, and it's totally fine. And I loved it. But then I started getting more adventurous with stouts. I found vanilla stouts and coffee stouts, and I'm not okay. I don't drink coffee. I hate the taste of coffee. I don't like chocolate. I think you've known this about me forever. That I
actually didn't know that you didn't like chocolate until like literally when you mentioned it the other day. But I'm accepting of it.
I feel like I told you. I feel like I told you that year in Bradford, but we both know how that year went for both of us because I don't think I was sober for most of it.
It's like I finished a handle and a half of UV Blue in 5 hours. Yeah, 5 hours. That shit.
That was
bottom
rough.
shelf. All right, UV Blue. It's not actually bottom shelf, but it might as well be.
It's pretty fucking close. You can get
Svedka.
You can get
Svedka is bottom. That's basement tier, dude.
It tastes like the oncoming release of death. Like I get it. Yeah.
Svedka was a bad night. I was playing Smash Bros with my feet and winning still though. So dude, I'm amazing at Smash Bros.
If my stream has proved anything, it's that you get better at games with more alcohol.
Oh my god, dude. Or, other things.
But I mentioned it once. I have to go back and get this story about the first night I drank, right?
Okay.
So, my buddy TJ brought over a bottle of Bacardi, and Josh brought over 6 12-packs of Mountain Dew. Somebody had the bright idea to start playing mixed drink beer pong. So, eventually it devolved.
That sounds like problems.
Yes. At this point in time, Josh was working. He had a full-time job on top of, like, school ending and all that, and he had to get up early every single morning. So by 9 p.m., he was asleep on the couch in the basement. Totally gone. He's like, don't disrupt me. I gotta go to work in the morning. I don't remember seeing him drink all that much. Like, maybe a cup or two. But not enough to, like, be blackout drunk by any stretch of the imagination. I hadn't had alcohol ever in my life before, so I passed out pretty early. I don't think I had that much, but
Like
I fell
passed
asleep
out or
early.
blacked out?
Passed out. I didn't black out. I passed out.
Okay.
In being passed out, I very distinctly remember our other two buddies that were there, Nick and TJ. I very distinctly remember them playing Pong without throwing ping pong balls. They stood at the opposite ends of the table and just giggled at each other while the other one chugged it. So it's not Pong at all. It was just let's get wasted. So
I don't know. That's so funny. That's great.
So we did this in my mom's basement, and Bacardi comes in this big, bright white bottle.
I'm familiar.
The carpet in that basement was very, very dark. Very dark. So it was like a neon sign glowing on the floor. TJ fell asleep at the edge of the table. Nick likes to do this weird thing when he gets drunk where he has to put something under his midsection, so face and feet were on the floor, but his ass was up on top of two pillows. My mom heard
the position.
My mom heard us making a lot of noise. 11, 12 p.m. She came down, she checked on us, no big deal, whatever. She went back up the stairs to her bedroom.
Yeah.
At some point, this story starts becoming secondhand because it comes through my mom and my stepdad. But at some point, Josh decided he needed to get up and use the bathroom. I'm guessing probably between 1 and 2 in the morning. Josh goes up the stairs from the basement, walks right by a bathroom, around down the hallway, up a second set of stairs, past yet another bathroom, and got to my parents' door.
Oh no.
Apparently, he wasn't sure if it was the bathroom or not. So he just kind of kept opening and closing the door just over and over and over again so he didn't disrupt anything. Now, mind you, Josh didn't drink enough. Josh did not drink nearly enough to be hammered. All right? But okay. So my stepdad yells. I've never heard the man yell, and he's lived in my house with me for 10 plus years, and I've never heard the man yell. And apparently, he yelled at Josh. What the fuck are you doing? So Josh, in his infinite wisdom, yells, sorry, bathroom, sprints back past the bathroom, down the set of stairs, past the second bathroom, down the stairs, and fell asleep on the couch without ever stopping in a bathroom. At this point, my mom's very concerned at whatever just fucking happened. And she comes down to check on us. The Bacardi bottle is sitting in the middle of the floor, and my mom managed to not see it because she didn't know we were drinking that night until like 6 months ago when I accidentally told her this story in front of her hammered. Oops.
She didn't know?
No, she never saw it. She suspected it. She talked to me about it the next day, but I was like, no, Mom, we didn't drink. No worries. And she had no idea. So my stepdad has to get up at that point, had to get up really, really early for work, so my mom decided she didn't want to go back to bed and disturb him. She fell asleep on the couch. Nick came up the stairs. He is blacked out. Fact. So he comes up the stairs, looks at her in the living room where she's sitting. She goes, hey, buddy, you okay? Can I get you anything? And he just kind of grunts and walks into the kitchen. He started removing things from the refrigerator, leaving them on the floor, walked back out to my mom, grunted again, fell asleep on the couch in front. Just fell straight over, right in front of her, just, Yeah.
Oh, man.
And somehow my mom didn't know we were drinking until like 6 months ago when I told this story in front of her.
So, yeah, I've got a pretty similar story, also with a basement and drinking. This is Fireball, cinnamon Fireball whiskey. Fucking, that shit is dangerous, and I never want to taste it again for the rest of my life. But there were two handles that night. There were two handles of Fireball whiskey. And so we started playing some video games. I think it was Destiny. It was actually the first Destiny at the time.
Okay.
Which, it's an okay game, but later discussion. And we ended up drinking way too much. We were mixing it with cream soda, and we were calling them cinnamon rolls.
Okay.
You know, they taste really fucking good. Like, tastes like a cinnamon roll.
I can fuck with that.
So, Nick, the guy I don't even associate anymore with, Nick Lopez was his name, and he was a power-hungry asshole that would use his influence to try to manipulate people like a douchebag, basically. But anyways, he brought a whole handle, and he left it in the fridge, and then went to bed, and left me and my friend Zach, still my friend, he left us awake, and we were at Zach's mom's house. And in this basement, it's a long basement. It's not like wide, it's just long.
Okay.
There's a recliner, a big couch that also reclines, the coffee table, and then a third recliner, or a second recliner, I guess, over by the bathroom, right? And I'm on this end of the basement,
Right.
passed out.
Right.
We're not going to talk about how I got there. And
Okay.
the bathroom is over there, like a solid 25 feet. Like it's a
Okay.
long basement.
All right.
And I wake up. It's secondhand story. I don't remember it. I wake up. And Zach looks at me, also shit faced, but he remembers it. He didn't black out. And he's like, "Bud, you good?" And I guess I looked at him and said, "Yep." And then I looked at him and my face went, and I ran through that basement. I slammed into the recliner, spun around I grabbed the recliner as I slammed into it, spun myself 360, bounced into the couch, off the couch, grabbed the coffee table, pushed myself off, spun another 360, grabbed the other recliner, and vaulted over the recliner, grabbed the door frame of the bathroom, and swung myself in and made it to the door and vomited my guts out. He described it as the most elegant drunk man he's ever witnessed.
All right.
I didn't break anything. I didn't slam in anything too terribly difficult, and I got to the toilet. I have, and this isn't just the first time I've been told, because turns out I'm actually quite elegant on my feet when I'm shit-faced. Why? I don't know, but I am.
I cannot say the same.
Dude, I don't fall, like, okay, so I had a beer, right? And I was at another place. It was actually a senior party from high school for Abby Miller. She was having her party at the Rod and Gun Club, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was drinking. Everyone. 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 16-year-olds even, I'm sure of it. And I got wasted. And that one, I actually still, like, the right before we got there, my friend Zach was driving his Jeep. He ended up passing out in his Jeep. And on the way to the party, holding a 24-pack, right, I was programming my brain, speaking to myself in my brain, if something happens, just say your phone number. If something happens, just say your phone number. 607, so on and so forth. So on and so forth.
Safe?
Yeah. And at some point, I ended up in the corner, not able to speak. Someone came up to me and asked, "Are you all right?" And the first words out of my mouth were the phone number to the house. And it's 2 a.m. My mom didn't know where I was. I didn't know where I was. She gets a call. And at this point, there's like 7 people surrounding me, supposedly. And I'm just sitting there saying my phone number over and over and over and over again. They're like, "Buddy, shut the fuck up. What are you doing?" And then someone comes up and they're like, "Just call this mom. She's on his way to get him." I'm like, it fucking worked.
Apparently.
Worked. I walked out with my phone and my wallet.
I have so many good
not my
stories.
dignity, but
yeah. Mine's been gone for a long time.
That was a rough night.
I have so many good drinking stories of me being an absolute fucking moron. It's almost embarrassing how long I can go just telling stories about times I got hammered and did really dumb fucking things. I can
imagine.
Have I ever told you the time where I locked myself out of my dorm on campus? This isn't even like remotely a drinking story, but like I guess it's like almost close. The same level of stupidity anyway.
I feel like you have, but let's hear it.
All right, so I lived at the time with Rylan and Garsky, and they had gone away.
I know one of them.
Yeah, they'd gone away for the weekend to go look for apartments in Pittsburgh. This was my senior year. So at the time, I guess I'm still really good friends with Ashlyn, and she worked the last shift at one of the bars in town in Bradford. And her deal was, "Hey, if you show up and you sit at the bar, I'll give you a ride home. I'll pay for all your drinks. Like, you just need to make sure I don't get abducted from this bar at the end of the night because I'm the only one working." Deal. I knew the owner of the place, and he was like cool with me sitting there after hours as long as I wasn't drinking after they closed. Like, no worries. So this one night during the weekend where Rylan and Garsky had gone away, I went to go sit at the bar, and I remember having like a beer and a half and starting to feel sick. Like, just did not feel good at all. So I actually stopped drinking. Ashlyn closed the bar at 11. Yeah, me. Stop drinking. How about that, right?
I know, right?
So Ashlyn drove me home. I was still really lucid, obviously. But I went straight to bed. Phone, wallet, keys, the ID card to get into the bedroom, all went on my desk. I went to bed.
I fucking hated that you needed an ID card to get into the bedroom. Fucking hated that. That's dumb.
Garbage. But we're gonna leave the terribleness of that school out of this. So I woke up on the couch in the living room, not in my bedroom. I don't know how or when I got there. I don't know anything. I know I woke up on the couch. TV was on. All right, like maybe I woke up kind of in a daze, like you do in the middle of the night.
Yep.
And I decided, like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed. I don't know what happened. I don't know what put me here. I'm going back to bed. So I get to the bedroom door and I go to pull my card out of my pocket and realize I don't have a card. I can't get into my bedroom. So I was like, Don't worry. I'll call Garsky. Everything's gonna be fine. Garsky's away for the weekend. I know. I'll call the RA. She's right down the hall. Easy peasy, right? Go to pull my phone out of my pocket. I don't have my fucking phone. You don't have your phone. Right. There's a theme to this story I feel like you're already picking up on, but so I went to go.
Please tell me you at least had your pants.
I did have my pants. I was fully clothed. Shirt.
You hesitated shorts. For a second, and I was a little worried, but
okay. Well, I'm getting to that next part of the story, so bear with me. Let's hear it. So I decided then that I was like, all right, I'm just gonna walk down the hall. We're gonna go get Leah, and she can let me in that way. Like, no big deal. I know my card's on my desk if it's not in my pocket. That thing was stapled to me for 4 years. I guarantee it's on the corner of my desk if it's not in my pocket.
Unrelated, I still have my Pip Bradford ID.
Mine is somewhere. It's probably in one of my desk drawers here, but I don't care to look for it.
Yeah.
I have looked like a felon in every ID photo I've ever taken. But I decided to walk down the hall. I got a step and a half out the door when I went, hold up, wait, I can't lock myself out of my bedroom too. So I opened up the door like I caught it before it shut. I took one of my shoes. I didn't need my shoes to walk down the hallway, So I stuck my shoe in between the door frame and the door so the door didn't close. I was thinking ahead, properly planning.
Uh-huh.
For now. So I get down I get down the hall. I open Leah's front door because hers was taped. As an RA, they had to leave it open so she was accessible. I knocked on her bedroom door, didn't hear an answer, but all the lights in the house were off, so I was like, okay, I'm not trying to disturb anybody. Like, she said she was going to go to Donovan's earlier. Like, maybe she's over there. You know what? I'll go to Donovan's. I'll go find him.
Yeah.
So I come back down the hall. I start to go down the stairs, and I realize I don't have my shoes, and my door is open. I should go close it, put my shoes on, get out of here. Well, the staircase locked behind me, so I couldn't get back to my bedroom. I went, don't worry, don't worry, I'll just grab my card. Easy peasy. I still don't have my fucking card. So at this point, I get down the stairs, and the way the stairwell worked in the building that I lived in was I lived on the 3rd floor. There was you needed your card to get into the 3rd floor from the staircase, and you also needed one to get in from the lobby into the staircase. So I got to the bottom of the staircase. Before I opened the door, I was like, all right, is there anything I can prop this open with so that I can get back in if I need to? I realized at that moment in time, it didn't fucking matter if I could get back into the staircase because I couldn't get out of the fucking staircase. So I just left. I walked out into the lobby. The door shut behind me, and about the same time I heard the door click, I could see out the windows from the lobby to outside, where I realized it was snowing. Now, you may have missed the part where I said I don't have my fucking shoes, and it's snowing.
I remember that part.
All right, great. So we're all on the same page here that, my only options are sit in this lobby for all entire weekend without a way to contact another living human being, or walk through the snow. I decided to walk through the snow. I was like, they're still over at Donovan's.
Any logical human would do.
Bare feet through the snow. I'm gonna be okay. It's only a couple 100 feet. It's not gonna be the end of the world. So I took my socks off. I got out the building, and I started running through the snow because it was so fucking cold on my feet. I thought I was gonna die about 3.5 steps in. So I sprinted barefoot through the snow on campus, right down the middle of the fucking road because it was the shortest path from A to B. I got to the front door of Donovan's building. I opened the building, got into the lobby, and realized Donovan lives on the 3rd floor. So
And
I
you don't
can't
have a key card.
get into the staircase to open up to get to Donovan's house for Donovan to tell Leah to let me in. So I sat in that lobby for a good half an hour, feet still frozen, totally defeated, completely hating myself for how much of a fucking moron I absolutely have to be to make this cross-campus trek in the snow in my bare feet instead of just suffering until the morning.
What time is it?
We're getting there. It's so much better because I thought
Oh no.
I got home right at 11:15 after Ashlyn had shut the bar, mopped the floors. We drove back to campus. So I'm thinking it can't be like beyond 1-2 a.m. You know what I mean? Like it definitely wasn't light out, so like it wasn't whatever. Couldn't have been that late. Just got home from the bar. I was in a daze. Whatever. So I sat there in the lobby for about half an hour, and my options were sit in this lobby, which isn't the building that I live in, with no way to identify myself, or run across campus again to campus police. They can let me in. I waited that half an hour. I sprinted across campus again. Still, right across the street, without looking, bare feet, through the snow. More snow now, because I waited half an hour, and it's fucking middle of goddamn nowhere in an Arctic tundra. But
yeah.
I get to campus police, and there's like a little vestibule area, so you can get in the front door, you sit in like this 4x4 room, and then you have to buzz in so somebody... And she's... am I cutting out?
You good there, Ted?
I'm good. I'm good. My face on camera is not good, but, you know, I'm good. Can you hear me at all? Seems like you can't hear me at all. Cross campus again.
How it be?
Bare feet, through even more snow because it's an Arctic fucking tundra. Get the campus police, vestibule, 4x4. I buzzed. So that the cop at the desk, she looked up at me, and she can't be any older than I am. I bet you, like, now having aged a few years, I bet you she still looks 16. Okay, like, really, really young cop. And she looked at me, and the first thing she had to say was, "Young man, where's your jacket?" I was bothered more by the fact that she called me young man looking like a toddler than the fact that I didn't have a jacket, or I haven't explained myself yet. But I told her I locked myself out of my house. I don't have a way to get back in. I thought the best idea was coming here, and then I realized I'm missing all of these things. So she goes, "Okay, let me grab my jacket. I'll grab the keys. We'll drive you back to your house." So she puts on her jacket. She puts on, she grabs the keys to the SUV, and she starts to come out of campus police, still not realizing that I don't have any shoes on, and she started to walk. So I sat in the vestibule area with the door open, just kind of staring at her like, help me? She eventually was like,
"Is that what you said?"
Yeah, I did, pretty much. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was just as feeble as that. So, so she's like, "Oh, you probably want to drive, don't you?" Okay, no problem, no problem. So she walks back out to the SUV. I went with her, got in the passenger seat. She goes, "So, how do I know that you actually live here?" I was like, "I will show you my ID. It's got my face and my room number. Like, I promise that I do in fact live here. You just need to let me into the house to prove it, because everything I own is inside my room that I couldn't fucking get in, which is why I'm here." I started to explain to her the story of how it was I ended up at campus.
Yeah.
She drops me off at the front door. She lets me sprint in so that she can, like, turn the car off and that. Stairs. She lets me in the room. She lets me in my bedroom. I show her my ID. She takes down my name so that she can check it off later. I mean, she knows obviously where I am if that's not the case. It was my ID in that bedroom, so.
Was your door still propped with a shoe, or are you out of a shoe now?
No, it was. It was, in fact, propped with a shoe still. But I think most of that was the timing in which this occurred. Because she told me, as I showed her my ID, she goes, "I'm glad you're home safe, but next time, try not being hammered at 4 o'clock in the morning and showing up to campus police without your shoes. And then she just turned around and walked out and didn't even like ask for an explanation or anything. She just assumed I was plastered. Right. Yeah,
wow.
Nobody was awake anyway because it was 4 in the morning.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just had flaming hot Cheetos delivered to me by my wonderful mother.
All right.
Yeah,
Kid's
smoke
dying.
some more.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, she's long gone.
I figured.
Yeah. I muted myself so I could explain to her.
Gotcha.
Fun wow.
Yeah.
I can't say... See, the winter doesn't bother me. I've gone barefoot so many times, so many places, so many things I've stepped on. It's so cold, so hot, like, you know. Dude, black asphalt barefoot? I would sooner choose snow over that.
I think part of it was like being still halfway asleep in whatever days I woke up in and just not knowing how cold it was to step into snow and then having to do it and not having any other option.
Uh-huh.
I think that was the majority of the issue, but then by the time I got to where I was going, I was like, you know, my feet might be frostbitten because I've been bundled up because of fucking Bradford.
Yeah. Why couldn't they just give us the codes to the keypad that's built into the fucking door?
So my freshman year, actually, the main doors, the stairwells, and were just the key or just the card. The front door to your apartment was key code, and then your key card, and then your key code. So it was both, and people were complaining that it would take too long if you were in any form of danger, right? So then it became just the card. Well, then they figured
which is an interesting argument, but I guess I can see that.
I get that it takes longer to do both tasks than it takes to do just one.
Sure.
But it really doesn't take that long to swipe 5 digits open. But I get it. And the bedrooms used to be either the key card or the key code. One or the other, both of them worked.
Yeah.
When they changed the front door to be just the key card, they went, it's kind of stupid to give these kids passcodes because it's something else to remember when the card already does everything else the whole step of the process. So let's make it just the card. Which again, I get it. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of dumb things, but not all of them can be solved. I mean, some of them can be solved, and I could probably solve them, but it would require It would require one of many things, whether it being something that has infinite durability and ductility, zero friction, or carrier pigeons.
Right. Well, in that case, I think that door getting in with the key card or the key code could have been solved with a very large axe, but you know.
I don't know, man. Some of those doors, are fucking heavy.
Or fuck.
It'd take you a minute to get through that door with an axe, and even then, like, I don't know. I mean, have you swung an axe for any extended period of time?
Yeah, I have.
Fucking sucks.
Maybe not quite in an upright door, especially not a door that thick. But yeah,
dude, nah. Like that shit. Like swinging an axe is fun, but you use so many more muscles that you didn't know you had. Mm-hmm. Like that's the same thing with skiing, man. You go skiing and you come back and like you wake up the next morning and muscles you didn't know you even had are sore.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why you should just build a hydraulic battering ram that you can just mount to the door and blow the hinges out with.
I mean, if anybody could do that, I think it would be.
It would be easy. That's the thing. Like it's easy. Like, dude, not even like. All right, you ready? Okay. You need a prime mover. You need the thing that's going to move the hydraulic oil. You need a hydraulic tank. Not a big one, though, because if you're only going to be running one or two actuations, easy, right? Kind of like the Jaws of Life, except for the Jaws of Life are hooked up to the truck, where this would be a portable system. Well, semi-portable. I mean, you're going to need a big fucking battery. Let's just assume that you don't need a battery, right?
Okay.
So,
solar powered.
And there are so many problems with that statement. We will get there. So, you go up to the door and like you run some screws in it real quick, or you could build into the system like some spring-driven spikes, right? And you click a button and it releases the spring. It's a one-time shot, then you have to reload it, but just enough that it'll fasten it to the door.
Right.
And then you take your cylinder, your actuator, the cylinder, right? Yeah. It's gonna be like 7-inch diameter. Like this thing's. I'm not saying that this is something that's like super portable. Like you're gonna need to do like 400-pound deadlifts, but that's besides the point. Like we're talking huge cylinder because force equals pressure times area. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna put it into a regen system so that it'll speed up real quick and then slam into the door. And then when it does, there's going to be a power activated solenoid that's going to change it over to being a regen circuit to just pressure. And then when it slams into the door, it's going to just keep moving and nothing's going to stop it. So either that door is moving or it's going to push itself off the door, which is much more likely.
Yeah, especially if it's those spring-loaded spikes.
Although I'm just thinking hydraulics because hydraulics are fun and I've been learning hydraulics and fluid power. So like, it's more realistic is you just like take it. All right.
You take wait a second.
So if you take like just a standard, like maybe like a 3/4 inch pipe, maybe less, maybe more. And you just put a shotgun charge in the end of that thing and you hold that up to your door hinge, like not even like a barrel. It's like a pipe. You put a slug in that bitch. And you hold that up to the door and you strike it with a hammer. You're through the door and you're out of a hammer, but you're through the door.
That seems much more efficient than spiking itself to the door and then an actuating cylinder that just punches its way through the fucking door. I
never said they'd be smart solutions.
In all fairness, I just like, okay, so your giant mount, if we go back to that rather than the fucking cylinder and a fucking hammer you're out of, right?
Okay.
Wouldn't you have to mount it in such a way that like, because when you use a regular ram into a
battery
door, right?
ram,
yeah, you aim for like not the hinge, not the middle, but you aim for where like the door connects with the frame, right? Because that's theoretically the weakest point to break, right?
Yeah.
So wouldn't you have to set this thing up where it was either really narrow or that you could position it like even to the doors are 3 feet, right? So you pin it to the door and then it either has to hit here or here. If you hit it right in the middle, you're not effectively breaking that door. So how would you
that's because
be able to mount that much power to one side?
Well, you wouldn't want to do it with hydraulics. That's the thing. Like hydraulics are slow but powerful. And we're looking for more of an explosive kind of
always explosive
actuation. Maybe not. I mean, you don't have to use explosives, but now think
for the door, easy peasy.
You mentioned the door frame. So let's assume for a second that this door is opening towards us, which means that there's not only just the door hinges and the latch that are holding this in place, there's the entire framing of the door that keeps it from swinging the rest of the way.
Right.
So instead of trying to push through that door, we're going to take an object under an extreme pressurized load that we can like quick release. It's going to launch something towards us and then come to a sudden stop.
Healthy choices.
No, we're going to be off to the sides by at least 3 feet, right? So we'll be fine.
3 feet of safety. I'm in. That's all I need. I would have settled for 2.5.
You take this and you drill like lag bolts. Like you properly mount this thing to this door. Like, assuming that you're not trying to get through like a privacy door, you could just punch your way through. Like a baby could punch through a fucking.
Right, we're talking
door.
about a thick, meaty ass
solid,
door.
like 3 foot, like 3-inch thick fire oak door.
Bank vault.
We need. Don't tempt me. So you're gonna need more than just what I'm designing to get through a bank vault, but we can do that. That's a possibility. So like, no, you take and you mount this bitch to that door like 6, 7, 8, 9, 20 bolts. 20 is a lot, but you're gonna take more time setting it up than it would be to just find someone to like find a key.
Yeah.
Or lockpick it, which I can do.
Of course you can.
So we mount it and then we pressurize that spring, and it's gonna have a massively dense object that's very, very heavy on the end of that spring. And then when we pull that and we activate that, it's going to launch that towards us extremely fast.
Okay.
But it's going to come to a sudden stop. But that power has to go somewhere. So it's going to pull the door towards us and off its hinges rather than going through the door and through the framing of the door. Instead, it's just gonna, at that point, all you have to do is fight the hinges and the latch. Now all you got to do is break the latch and the hinges. Easy. And if you mount it so that this pressure is not like pulling out towards the middle of the door, and you put it towards the latch, you'll rip that bitch right open. Good luck resetting it, but you know, you could use, and I know this from experience, you could use an old car spring, like a shock spring.
Right.
You could pressurize, because my friend Zach and I, we built a tool out of old brake rotors and a 1-inch all thread that was like 2 feet long to compress the springs on his Mercedes, which was a 1980s. It rode like a boat. It was the most comfortable ride I've ever had. Like, and that car had customizable positionings for the seats. Like, there were 2 buttons. You click one, you put the seat where you want. You click one again, it remembers that seat location. So if you move the seat forward, backwards, or up and down, and like, and then you push that button and you hold that button, it will move that chair back to that exact location. Why is that not standard?
I don't know. I've seen that in a handful of like luxury cars, but we're gonna move on.
Dude, I don't even know if it's in like luxury cars. Like, anyways, Germans know what they're doing when it comes to engineering. Maybe not everything they do is smart or ethical, but I gotta give it to them, man. German engineering, they make good cars.
All right.
Anyways, we took and we slipped these 2 brake rotors that we cut to pieces, like to accept part of the spring, and we slipped them into the top and the bottom of that spring. And then we ran that all thread up through after we removed the shock tower, and we just started tightening that bitch down with like these like massive nuts, right? We had massive nuts to be doing this because it was dumb. We compressed that spring 5.5 inches. I'm talking like this spring was like a solid like 3/4 inch diameter, like chunky spring. Like, it's a thick boy. And when we went to we replaced the spring, and we did it just fine. We went to salvage our tool, which was under compression, and we started loosening the bolt, and then the bolt kept moving. So like the bolt was supposed to be holding all of that compression, was no longer holding that compression. We didn't know what was holding that compression because the spring bent.
That's terrifying.
So we were so fucking scared. Like, this almost tops the time I put a propane tank in a bonfire and shot it with a 20 gauge.
A little part of me hates you for that. A little part of me loves you for that.
So
most of me's terrified.
I almost died that day. We left like half a foot crater in a field. Like, you don't think half a foot's a big crater, but that's a big fucking crater.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so we set the spring that's in compression freely floating in the middle of the shop floor. And mind you, it's like 25 degrees out, freezing cold, snowing sideways. We have a fire that's not heating up the room we're working in, and we throw a wrench at it. And it hits it. And that spring suddenly decompresses 1/2 inch. It moved 1/2 inch. And it moved so quick we couldn't tell what happened. It jumped off the ground a foot, and it just emitted a cloud of rust. We didn't see it move. All we saw was it jump, cloud of rust. That's all we saw. It uncompressed. It moved so quickly. And, you know, at that point, we went and buried it.
Yeah?
We went and buried that bitch.
And you probably carried it with like 8-foot-long tongs so that if it decompressed again...
He had an old oil field like rod that's like 24 feet long.
Yeah.
And we very, very carefully threaded it through it and picked it up 12 feet away from this bitch. And we walked it out into the middle of a field and we buried that bitch.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. And we were drunk.
And maybe that should have led the story.
We weren't shit-faced, man, but like we were not smart.
Oh man.
Almost ripped apart the stator on my dirt bike too because it wasn't turning on. And then we stopped for 5 seconds and looked and the key was in the off position.
Healthy? Good choices.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I'm big brain.
The biggest of big brains.
I am the big brain.
True. Bud kind of do.
Big facts. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
All right. That feels like a pretty good amount of time to...
I would say so.
Wrap this up. Yeah. This feels pretty successful. This
I suppose so. We'll have to see what everyone else thinks of it.
Yeah, man.
If you're seeing this, we're not dumbasses. We're just
I'm a dumbass.
mild.
Me.
We're not dumbasses. I'm not a dumbass. He's dumb, but not a dumbass. I'm smart dumb, but we're going to leave it at that because I don't want to try to over-explain it because that would make no sense.
A future podcast.
So, if this is something you like, let us know. We'll do more. The topics are going to range wildly. Like, it's not always going to be stories of stupid shit we've done. There's discussion for quantum mechanics and carrier pigeons. We didn't get there, but it is on the docket.
We actually set aside like several things that like, hey, this could be a topic, and I don't think we touched a single fucking one.
No, we didn't. Not once.
I'm pretty proud of that, actually.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, definitely good, but, you know, we'll get there. So, like I said, if this is something you like, let us know, and we'll see about doing another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, I ain't got anything.
I got nothing either.
Alrighty.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.